bathroom, Mom, but you're at it. Okay? All right. Hey, this is Connie's daughter, Kat, and she is such a help to us, and she does sound for us and all kinds of stuff, and she's very, very talented. So we're going to let her do a little Laura Ingles for you.
Good evening. My name is Laura Ingles, and I live in a little house on the prairie with my ma and pa and my big sister Mary and my little sister Carrie and our bulldog Jack. And I would like to tell you about my favorite Christmas. Pa had invited our friend Mr. Edwards to join us. Now Mr. Edwards lives way across the creek from us, and on Christmas Eve we awoke to the sound of the creek roaring. It was flooded, and Pa said that no man would risk his neck trying to cross that raging creek. But Mr. Edwards surprised us. He showed up on our doorstep Christmas morning and said, "No creek could stop me. Your little ones had to have Christmas." When I heard the word Christmas, I sat up in bed and said, "Did you see Santa Claus?" Mr. Edwards said he sure had. Well, Mary and I were wide awake then, and as Mr. Edwards warmed himself by the fire, he told us all about his adventure. Mr. Edwards said that when he saw the creek rising, he knew that Santa wouldn't be able to cross it, and he decided that he'd better find him. When he found him, Santa spoke first and said, "Hello, Edwards." We were astonished that Santa knew Mr. Edwards and even called him by name. We asked, "Did he really know you? How did you know that he was really Santa Claus?" Mr. Edwards said that it was because Santa knows everyone, and he knew that it was Santa by his long white whiskers. Santa said, "Edwards, you know Mary and Laura Ingles, don't you?" Mr. Edwards told Santa that he did. So when Santa asked Mr. Edwards to do him a favor and deliver our gifts to us, Mr. Edwards said he certainly would. So Santa gave him our gifts, and Mr. Edwards headed to our place just as fast as he could. When he came to the rushing creek, Mr. Edwards decided that since Santa had given him a mission, he had to cross the creek no matter what. So he waded through the ice-cold water and hurried to our door. And that's how our Christmas morning began. While Mr. Edwards was telling his story, Ma put the gifts in our stockings just as Santa had intended. And then, because she could see that there was no way we could wait until Christmas dinner to see what our presents were, she said we could look inside. Mary and I each had a brand new shiny tin cup and a bright red and white peppermint stick. Christmas was so wonderful already, but there was more. We each had a brand new shiny penny and a white cake made with store-bought sugar. It was almost too pretty to eat, but I took a little bite out of the bottom so that it wouldn't show, and the sweet sugar just melted in my mouth. We felt rich with all those gifts. We ran up to Mr. Edwards and thanked him for bringing him our gifts. Pa shook hands with him and said, "It's too much, Edwards." But I could see that he and Ma were pleased as punch, and I think Mr. Edwards was too. You know, looking back now, I see that it wasn't just the shiny new gifts and the sweet treats that made it happy. It was that we were all there together, Ma and Pa and Mary and Carrie and me, and that we got to share our Christmas dinner with Mr. Edwards, who had made the long trip so that we could have our Christmas gifts from Santa. We were all snug and warm in our little log house, and we were blessed with the love of family and friends, and most especially with the love of Jesus, who came to earth on the very first Christmas day to give us the best gift of all, his peace and love and joy and salvation. That's what made it truly a very happy Christmas. I hope you're blessed with those things too, and that you have a very Merry Christmas.